And we're live. Welcome everyone. This podcast is in alpha and may be subject to change. Joining me today, I've got Tef, as usual.
All reliable.
Yeah, no one else is reliable.
Always here. No one else is reliable. That is genuinely true. Our friends are shitbags.
You know, we were gonna get Zalt in, but he's playing WoW.
He's playing WoW. Who'd have thunk it?
Surprise,
Never in a million
surprise.
years would I assume that he'd be playing WoW. But he's playing WoW.
I mean, if we would have brought him on, he just would have talked about playing WoW anyway, so...
Not missing much.
Yeah, you know what, it's probably a net positive for the podcast anyway.
I'd say so. He's boring. No one wants him here anyway.
But, I guess we'll talk about what we've been playing this week, because I've not been playing a lot, admittedly, but I've got some stuff I can talk about. I don't know, Tef, do you want to start us off with what you've been playing this week?
Yeah, I'll start off because I've been playing a couple of things. Silent Hill, obviously. Finished Silent Hill because I'm gonna have to do it every October. I think I mentioned I did speak about it last week, didn't I?
You did.
That I started playing it because I played like half of it last week, and then I finished it last night. So I guess I played it all in 1 week actually because last night was Sunday. So, yeah, I mean,
Was last night Sunday?
It was last night. Actually, I don't really want to go over the same stuff again because I already spoke about it, and it really wasn't that long ago, and it was literally about 24 hours ago that I finished it. Like, come on, get your act together, pal.
Listen, you're the one that finished it. I don't know where I am. I'm on a podcast.
I mean, time just flies when you're playing survival horrors, except it doesn't really because they're only about 6 hours long. So I'm always playing them, and then they just end, and I'm like, oh, okay. So I finished that. I mean, I don't really know what to say because I'd already spoke about it last week, but it's just it's always
Tell us about the ending.
I can't do that. Big spoiler territory. Even it's really not. I think everyone knows the ending at this point.
Well, there's several endings. Secret
there is.
ending.
I got the basic bitch one as well because it didn't even occur to me to try and get any of the other ones.
Oh.
The amount of times I played it, I could have gotten the UFO and the dog ending, but I never bother because you have to get all the different types of endings. I always just forget that that's a thing and I just play normally. I should just power through it sometime and just try and get the proper endings or all the endings so that I can get the real true canon ending. That is the dog ending, of course.
I actually don't remember the end to some of the endings. I only remember one or two.
I think there's only three
serious
ones.
Yeah, and there's
and then there's the UFO one and
the UFO one. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't differ that much, to be honest. There's just one where it's like a happy ending where he learns his lesson and goes home, and that's literally it, which is the one I got, where he literally just walks out of Silent Hill and that's the ending. And then there's the bad ending where if you role play as if James is suicidal, so it's if you stay on low health all the time and never heal up, or if you what else can do it? I think if you examine the knife, when one of the characters gives you a knife that she's contemplated killing herself with, and she gives it to you so that she can't kill herself with it, and you can examine it, and if you examine it too much, the game assumes that James is looking at it because he's contemplating suicide, and that adds to it. And if you do certain actions like that, can push you towards the bad ending where he just bloody jump. I think he just throws himself in the lake at the end, and that's it. So it's just depresso bad ending. And then there's the ending where he takes Maria and just leaves the town with her. So it's kind of like a happy ending, but at the same time,
he's
not.
Yeah.
He's not really learned his lesson if he's done that, I think. But I can't remember how you get that one. I think you have to be particularly nice to Maria. Obviously, you have to make certain decisions that favour her over Mary. But I can't really remember the specifics now. But yeah, it's just those three, really. There's not that many, but yeah, I can just power through them. I should just replay it as well because it's one of those games where I've played it so many times, but it's so deep in symbolism that you pick up new things every time you play it. There's always something new that I'll pick up when I'm playing through it, and it's just great fun. And it's so cinematic, but not in the way games not in this the sort of way people usually say cinematic about games, where a cinematic just means that they've ripped off Hollywood and they use all Hollywood camera angles and stuff. It's not like that. It's got this. It kind of just feels like you're watching some sort of art or film, like a artsy art house indie film sort of vibe to it, where it does clever things with music that a lot of games don't do. And the only other series I can think of that does this well is Final Fantasy, actually, where it uses the same trick, where sometimes it'll play music in a situation where games usually wouldn't play music at all, um, like. Like there's one situation where Maria gets killed. Spoiler alert: she gets killed like 4 times in the game, and she just comes back every time. But like the first time it happens, obviously James thinks that she's really dead, and he gets all depressed because he couldn't save her, and he's like sat in a lift, wallowing in self pity, as the lift takes him up and out of the hospital level, and then it just dumps you out into the middle of the level, and you're still in the horrible, moldy, grim hospital that's been the
Yeah.
entire level so far, and you've got to walk back out of it and out the front door to finish the level. But instead of playing the usual sort of industrial, spooky, clangy noises that it always plays, it's just playing this really sad, somber piano piece. And it just means you're walking through these spooky corridors, but they don't feel spooky anymore. They just feel really sad and depressing. And
Depressing,
it
yeah.
totally changes the way you're looking at the town. And it uses that trick a few times with music. And
Final Fantasy
it's so
definitely does do
clever.
that. Yeah.
It does, yeah. I can think of a few opportunities that Final Fantasy takes with that sort of thing.
Yeah, FF6 and 7 especially, stuff comes to mind. Like, I mean, someone dies in Final Fantasy 7 and, some very sad music plays. Stuff like that happens. And Final Fantasy 6 has a really cool moment as well where, I don't know if you've played 6, but if you mess up after when you're in the world of ruin and you feed the wrong fish to Sid, he dies and passes away.
Oh, that's right, yeah. Oh, that whole part is so
That is so
grim.
cool. It's such a cool part though as well. And honestly, I think the bad ending there is I like that more just because you have her theme play and it's really sad and she goes to like commit suicide on the cliff and jumps off. And you have her theme play as it happens, and such a good game.
Yeah. That's censored in the West though, isn't it? So she's not actually contemplating suicide. And it's so like weird where she's standing on the edge of the cliff and she's talking about happy things because they've just rewritten the script for that part, even though it's obvious that she's meant to be contemplating suicide because it's playing all sad music. I can't remember exactly what she says in the Western version instead now, but it's really odd.
I don't remember it being that odd. Maybe I don't know. I might have played a weird version or something.
Did you play it on the SNES or did you play one of the re-releases? Because I don't know whether maybe they changed that later down the line, but I know on the original version it's definitely it's rewritten.
I played it more on the Game Boy version.
Okay, they might have they might have fixed it for that because it was obviously it's a product of early 90s Nintendo where they didn't want any non-family friendly stuff at all, so they had to rewrite the script. Yeah, it's weird. So I think in the SNES version, she stands on that cliff edge, and I can't remember exactly what she says, but she's having like quite a pleasant conversation and talking about happy things while she stood on the edge of a cliff and sad music's playing. Like, so it's like obvious what's supposed to be happening. It's really weird.
Oh, I might need to look up that dialogue because I don't know. Final Fantasy 6 is probably my favorite Final Fantasy. I like it more than 7.
That's a hot take. That's a hot take. I do really like 6. I think 10 is my favorite. It's one of those series where the first one you play is always going to be a favorite, and 10 was my first one, so I think 10 is my favorite. But God, they are all brilliant.
I think really 7 was the first I played actually.
Oh, interesting.
But 6, I just really like the way 6 does its characters. Like everyone gets their everyone has their time and gets their story, and they all have really unique and cool stories for the most part. And then you have just really cool stuff in the game like Shadow, who is one of the characters that you can have, and he can, if you do a certain thing and you don't do it right, he just dies halfway through the game. You never get to see him again. But it's like it's one of those things where it's like it's before the World of Ruin happens. Like you get to the point where it's like you get to the airship and it's like, okay, time to go, or it's like, oh, do you want to wait? Because Shadow's like, I'll stay behind and I'll buy you time. So if you wait the clock all the way down at the very last second, he shows up and jumps on the airship with you and escapes. But if you don't, he dies, and then you have like some sad dialogue with people later on about it. It does a lot of cool stuff like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I do like Final Fantasy is great at that sort of thing. I don't know how we ended up here, but it's so good that
You also
it messes with
suplex
your
a train,
expectations.
a ghost train in that one, so
you don't see that coming, do you? You don't see that coming. Just saying. One thing I really like about all the Final Fantasies is even when you go back and you play the older ones, like the old 16-bit ones, even now it'll catch you out with things that you don't expect JRPGs to do. Like because they're so set in their ways, aren't they? That it's such a strict set of rules is needed to make a JRPG. And Final Fantasy will occasionally like throw that on its head and put you in a situation that you don't expect. And even the older ones can still catch you out, even though they're so old now. You'll still find things that shock you. I think Chrono Trigger's really good at that as well. And I'll never forget the first time I wandered into the monsters staff room in one of the dungeons in Chrono Trigger, and they're all just sat around like just playing cards. And you're just like, what? But it makes sense, obviously. Like, where did the monsters go when they're not like patrolling the dungeon? But it's just little things like that. They're what make the Square JRPGs so much better. Well, the Square ones. So it makes them so much better than like any
soft.
other. Yeah, Square Soft as it was at the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to include Enix in that, but then I don't think Enix quite had the same thing going. Dragon Quest is kind of the opposite, where it's like comfort food. Where it's just always you knew exactly what you were getting, and it didn't try. Dragon Quest is purposefully very generic. It doesn't want to step away from the formula too much, even now.
I really want to get into Dragon Quest. I think I'd really enjoy the Dragon Quest games. I've just never really played them, especially considering you've got like the Iron Man mode and stuff, which. Like, oof, that's the way to play.
Oh boy.
I just like to, suffer and watch people. And like, if someone dies, that's just part of the story. I think stuff like that's really cool.
Like that.
Yeah, it's a. Some might say it's a problem. I would disagree. I think that's just how we should play games. If you don't suffer,
I've just dug up.
Go on.
No, go on. Go on. You say your thing. Go on. You say your piece.
No,
You
please.
tell people how depressed you are. Go on. Pull us all.
Listen, I'm not talking about depression. I'm just talking about how everyone should suffer when they play games. And if they're not suffering and having no fun, then they're not playing the video game right. That's what that one guy from Nintendo said.
That actually is very result of you, because that's basically how he plays WoW raids these days.
It's true.
Speaking of depression in games, I've just dug up the scene with Celeste on the cliff in Final Fantasy VI, and so the script has changed in the original SNES version, so that she stood on the edge of the cliff, and she's basically saying that diving off the cliff into the water is a good way to cheer yourself up in these depressing times. So she's like, I'm going to jump off the cliff because it'll make me happier, but it's still playing really sad music, and then she flings herself off the cliff, and it's just
that is really dumb.
Yeah, so weird. It's so weird.
It's like that's such a big moment in that game as well. I mean, that's what made Celeste one of my favorite characters in that game. Because she's not like she's one of the main characters, but she's not like the heroine of the story. That's like supposed to be Terra, but Terra's also like everyone plays their own role, which is really cool. I think because like halfway through the story, she suddenly becomes like the main focus for a bit. As she, gets everyone back together for one last.
Yeah, I guess she does actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Because prior to that, it's like Terra and Locke are like they're like the main two, and then Locke has his whole backstory as well, which is really. I don't know. The whole game's really cool. It's such a good time. I want to play Final Fantasy VI again. That's what I'm saying.
I was gonna say we should play it on a Thursday, but I think it's like 50 hours long, so maybe not.
Yeah. I mean. I'd be up for it.
I do love Final Fantasy.
Yeah, there's there's the theater part as well. The whole opera.
Oh, that is good. That is good. Although I don't like it quite as much as the trial in Chrono Trigger, which is like a very similar thing, but I think I enjoy that more. I don't know why. Probably just because I saw that first.
Yeah, I mean, the trial's also really funny because it like takes into consideration what you did prior to that as well. But yeah, Chrono Trigger is also like up there. It's one of my favorite JRPGs, probably right next to Final Fantasy VI, like just below it. Just because Final Fantasy VI, I don't know. If I had to rate them, it'd be very hard.
It is really hard. I don't think I could. Because I'm running through them now, and I can definitely think of my favorites, but I can't rank them once I narrow it down to like Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy X and 6 actually. Yeah, it does get tough. It gets real tough after that point.
I think.
Anyway, I've not been playing them.
Yeah, no, we haven't actually, have we?
No, I don't know how I got onto this because I've actually just been playing survival horrors all week.
Oh yeah, we were talking about Silent Hill, weren't we? How did we get here?
I don't know.
The music.
Myself and
yeah.
Yeah, there we go. It's video games. They're all the same, really. You can dress them up however you bloody game at the end of the day.
It's all just violence. That's all it is.
It's all just corruption of the children. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Speaking of corrupting people, I've also been playing through Resi 7 again. I started play like once I finished Silent Hill 2, I was like, I need more survival horror, and I just like immediately started playing Resi 7. I don't know why.
It's a very different experience to Silent Hill.
Yeah, it is. Definitely is. Yeah, I mean, I think that's why I wanted to play it. It's made me want to play more Silent Hills. I think I'm probably going to play Silent Hill 1 again soon, but I didn't want to jump straight into another one. I did want a kind of different vibe, so I went for Resi 7 for a bit. Quality game, quality knockoff of Texas Chainsaw, but it's just good fun, and it's a great Resi game. The gameplay came back. The proper traditional Resi gameplay that everyone actually likes came back, and
it had just the right amount of campiness as well. You know, it managed to get that in there. Like the dad in that is just very campy. Like the whole boss fight in the garage, and he just keeps coming back as well, which makes it so much better.
It is great. I love the second fight with Jack.
With the meat. Is it a meat locker? There's meat on things, isn't there?
I was talking about this when I was playing. I was talking about this with the GF because we were stood in the room and we were like, "What is this room? Did this room exist before the bakers went crazy?" Because I don't understand what it would have originally been. The map says it's a morgue, but normal people don't have morgues in their houses. So I suspect that he built this later down the line, after he went a bit mental. So yeah, it's meant to be just a morgue, and there's just bodies hanging by their feet.
There was a morgue before that, like actually, like a traditional morgue, where like bodies.
I thought that too, so I checked the map, and that's apparently an incinerator room. So that's like where they get cremated, I guess.
Okay.
But, yeah, there's also a separate morgue. It doesn't make any sense. I don't know. It's like you said, it's campy. I don't think they cared too much, but I love that fight because when you kill Jack, slight spoilers for like the first like 2 hours of Resi 7 here, but like when you kill him with a chainsaw and he gets cut in half, and he doesn't actually get cut in half. Like the top half of his body just explodes in a heap of gore from the chainsaw somehow. It doesn't really make much sense, but it looks great. And then like his legs and his waist just fall to the ground, and then they lie there for a second, and then he stands up again, and his legs start walking towards you, and they take a few steps, and then they fall back down again. And for that split second, you're like, oh my god, he's gonna like regenerate before my eyes. I'm gonna have to fight him again, because it's already you've already seen that you can't kill him because you've already killed him once in the garage.
Yeah,
and it's just great.
He has like some really good moments, like really early on. I really like that. Depending on what you do, you can actually have different scenes play out at the start. Like I completely missed this on my first playthrough, but he ends up. I think is it your legs he cuts off or something? No, your arm. He cuts off like your arm or something. You end up on the ground.
Your hand.
Yeah, your hand, and he's like, you crawl. He like holds out a plant for you to grab, or a herb or something, or it's the drink, whatever it is in that game.
Yeah, the drinks. Yeah.
Yeah. So he holds one of those, and I was like, come on, come get it, and like taunts you over to go heal yourself at the start if you mess up, and you put your arm back on with that.
Yeah, that's right.
But
Yeah.
I completely missed that. And you can also burst through the wall as well.
Yeah, have you ever had them burst through the wall? I thought that was scripted.
No, you can skip that as well. You can miss out on that as well.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's always happened for me, and I thought that was scripted, and that's interesting because that actually changes the gameplay. Because if he doesn't burst through that wall, you don't have a shortcut between
Yeah.
the sort of back room of the kitchen, the pantry, and the hallway.
Yeah, if you...
okay.
you can definitely sneak around them and you can miss that. So I remember missing that, and I missed him cutting off your arm. So I saw that in a playthrough that I watched afterwards, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. They don't really do that as much later on, unfortunately.
No, it's just that opening part. I don't think it happens again, but it's cool that that's in there, definitely.
Yeah.
It's good. He doesn't scare me as much anymore. I was like absolutely terrified of Jack when I first played, because he's just this constant presence, and I don't actually like I don't like this trend in horror games at the minute where you have this invincible person who's always chasing you. For me, it's not fun. It's
the
just
Nemesis.
too stressful. Nemesis.
Yeah.
Like it does already stresses me out. Like I don't particularly like Mr. X in Resi 2. I just don't think he's fun to fight. I like that in most of the campaigns he's only there for a short while and he goes away before he gets too irritating, which I think is clever. I'm glad that they did that.
I think they leave him in there for just the right amount of time in the remake.
Yeah, they do. They do. Yeah, I think in Leon's second campaign, though, if I remember correctly, he's there for pretty much the whole game, which is really annoying. But besides that, in all the other ones, from what I can remember, he's not there too long, so it's not too bad. But Jack doesn't scare me anywhere near as much anymore because Mr. X is far worse and is far like more intelligent. Jack's actually pretty stupid in comparison, so like I was fine with him this time, and I barely even came across him. He's very easy to slip past, and you do want to slip past him because I think the difference is, like with Mr. X, you can always outrun him, but Jack is faster than you. So once he sees you, you've got to find somewhere to hide before he catches you. It's kind of a different mechanic from Mr. X, where you can always run from him. He's kind of Mr. X is more of a problem when he's stood in a tight corridor and you need to get past him.
Yeah.
It's a different dynamic entirely. But
I think Jack isn't in the game very long though. When he like shows up, like it's the very start of the game, and then it's when you go to the bathtub and when you open that up, and that's the last time you get chased by him. I think because you just flip through the crack at the end, and that's it.
Yeah, that's right. He's not in it for very long at all. To be fair, so again, they were quite clever. They didn't have him around for too long, and I'm grateful for that. And now that I've played the game a couple of times as well, and I know what to do. Like you get faster and faster every time you play one of these survival horrors, don't you? Because they're quite short games anyway. First time always takes me like 10 hours, 10 or 11 hours with these games, but then once you know what you're doing, the second time takes like 6 or 7. So like I blasted through the house section in about an hour and a half last night, and I got out
that section's really quick.
It is, yeah. It didn't feel quick the first time I played. I think because I was too scared of Jack, and I kept like running out, getting one thing, and running back to the safe room. I think I might have just been unlucky, honestly. But the first time I played, because my memory of him is like he just being this constant threat, and he was just always chasing me, and I couldn't seem to get away from him. And I kept finding that he would just camp outside the safe room as well, so I couldn't like run around the house while he was in another part of it. I didn't have that this time. No, I felt like I barely saw him. I don't know. Maybe I just got lucky. I don't know.
You know what? My first playthrough is actually up on my Twitch channel. I'm gonna go look and see how long my first playthrough was. That'll be interesting.
That'll be interesting.
I'm pretty sure I streamed the whole thing because Zolt was watching me. Because for some reason Zolt got really into Resident Evil 7, even though he's not really a single player kind of guy. But for some reason he got really into that and was like, "You should stream it." So mine took just over 7 hours.
That makes sense.
Yeah, which is about right.
Yeah.
I think the one part I got lost was the ship. At one point I just got lost on the cruise ship towards the end because it's a bit of a maze.
Yeah, it's quite big. A lot of people don't like that section. I quite liked it, but it's the popular consensus is that that's the worst.
I mean, it drags on.
Yeah, I guess it kind of does. It's kind of a bit long.
But yeah, I think. Yeah, I think it was a really good game. It was a big return to form for the series after 5 and 6.
hate 6 so much. I hate 6. I just cannot enjoy it, no matter how hard I try.
You have to play a co-op if you want to even get through it. It's like one of those things you can't bear it otherwise.
I hate the combat as well. It's so different. I can't get my head around it. No matter how much I play it, I'm never any good at the combat because I can't get into my head that you have to combat roll in a Resident Evil game. It doesn't feel right, and I can't teach myself to do it. I just can't. It doesn't feel right at all.
Yeah, it was very much just a third-person shooter at that point. There wasn't anything else left to it.
It was, and to this day, I guess, well, except for 7, because that's first person, but I guess that's a little bit different. But it's the only third person Resi game that doesn't have tank controls to this day.
You can move while aiming in that one, can't you?
And you can move while aiming, yeah. But I mean, you can move while aiming in 7 and the remakes as well, though. They've done the logical thing of having the trade-off where you can. Well, in 7, it's the classic sort of COD thing where if you're moving while you're aiming, then your aim isn't as good. And if you stand still for a few seconds, it turns into a pinpoint and you can aim properly. I've not played the 3 remake, but I know Resi 2 actually has a mechanic where if you move while you shoot at a zombie, you actually do less damage to it. You're way more likely to get a headshot off or a crit on a zombie if you stood still.
Okay.
Which is a clever way of doing it, I think.
Yeah, I think they really nailed the remakes. Well, 3 I've heard mixed things about, but 3 always felt like an expansion to 2.
Yeah, the criticisms for 3 mirror the criticisms for the original game, which I think is really, really interesting and just funny.
Yeah, the problem, I think, from what I saw of the remake of 3, the issues were it cut out like really big sections. Like the hospital was changed up to, it was like a horde mode thing in the hospital, which didn't seem great. And then I think from the hospital you actually go to the very end of the game, like you go down and you go right to the lab, and then
the whole clock tower level's missing, isn't it?
Clock tower's missing as well. The clock tower, it does show up, but it's a boss fight area. You fight the nemesis at the clock tower, but it's like he turns into a big mutant thing and runs around in circles, jumping off buildings. It's not the same as it used to be. You don't have the whole helicopter showing up and be like, "Oh, we did it, guys," and then the nemesis just shoots it down. You don't have that moment. Yeah, 3 does have some really good moments. I do like 3.
I think I haven't played the remake yet. I've been putting it off because I know it's not going to be as good as 2, so it doesn't seem high on my list of priorities. I will get around to it, but I do really like 3. Who knows? It might end up being like 3. I did the same thing with 3, but I put it off for years and years, and I only played 3 for the first time like 2-3 years ago, which is late in my Resi career considering I've been playing the games since I was about 6. Way too young to start, but I did.
You turned out fine.
It is what it is. It is. That turned out fine. You don't see me killing people in the streets unless they're zombies. And I actually really liked 3 when I got around to playing it. I really liked it.
I did as well.
It's a great game. It really is great. It's just, I think people just didn't like it at the time because it was different. It was the first game that stepped away from the survival horror.
It was more action orientated, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a dodge button, which does make the game too easy, and it makes the Resi 3 remake too easy as well. I do know that because I've played the demo, and it makes the zombies very easy to deal with.
Yeah, I think the only threat is probably like the nemesis, which because he's fast, he's really fast. From what I think he was in the demo as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, he shows up momentarily, I think, right at the end of the demo.
Yeah, and he's really fast. Like, he will get in front of you and jump in the way and be like, nope, turn around.
That's the thing in the original game, isn't it? Like, he is so fast. And that's the thing. Like, compared to Mr. X, more so in the remakes because Mr. X is a bigger presence in the remake of 2. But he's really different from Mr. X because he's so much more athletic. Mr. X literally just storms towards you. It's like power walking.
Yeah.
He's not much of a threat, like I said earlier, unless you get unlucky and he manages to corner you, or you've got to get past him in a tight corridor.
I don't even really remember him in the original Resident Evil 2. I think he just appears in like corners of rooms and is like, "Hello, it is I."
Yeah, he's only in the second campaign in the original game.
Is it Leon's?
So I think he's in both, but he's he's not even a major presence in them. Not in the same way he is in the remakes. But he's only
Yeah,
in the second campaigns. So
yeah, I'm sure he only shows up in like a few rooms. And it's just like, hey, what's up? It's me, the Big X. I'm trying to remember because I thought he was only in one of the two campaigns for other characters. I don't know. I could be wrong. Again, it's been a long time since I've even looked at the originals for Resident Evil 2.
I don't even think I've ever bothered to play the second campaigns for the original Resi 2. Resi 2 has never been a big one for me. I know it's like considered the best one, but it's never been particularly high on my list. It's a good game, but
I prefer the
I tend
first
to play the
game.
other ones more. I prefer the first game. It's just more tight, isn't it? It's more
Yeah,
like
it
it's
might
more
just
well
be me.
designed, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
You
know.
look.
I don't know
You
enough
looking
about
this
Resi
up now?
2.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to, but the wiki's kind of crap. It's just a concept art for him.
No, okay, fair enough. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting because the Nemesis does just full charge at you. Like he full sprints is like, I'm coming.
Am I coming?
But yeah, he does that a lot in the original game, which makes for some really cool moments. I played that on stream just before we started streaming together, didn't I? I feel like I did.
I think you did, yeah. I seem to remember you saying that. You were playing Dino Crisis when I first
Oh
started
yeah,
joining
I think
the
it was
stream.
before Dino Crisis that I played Resident Evil 3. I think it must have been in that order because I must have been like, you know what, I need some more Resident Evil like action, and I remember Dino Crisis. I have memories of Dino Crisis, so that's where I jumped in, I guess. But yeah, not played Dino Crisis or Resident Evil 3 this week either. We keep going off on mad tangents today, but that's fine by me.
Yeah. What have you been playing, pal?
Not a whole lot, honestly. Arcade. I played a lot of Arcade this week. A big patch dropped, and got riled up.
Oof. Oh yeah, I've not. No, you have told me what the beef is, but I don't actually remember. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've forgotten.
Well,
Oh, it's the season pass, isn't it? They've like over monetized the season pass or something.
yeah. So they have this thing called the Arch Pass, which is essentially a battle pass. You have to do a few missions a week, and you get rewards and stuff from doing them. And originally we had the choice between 3 different passes, and the pass lasted for like 3 or 4 months. So you could do all 3 of the patches essentially, or the passes, not patches. And yeah, it was fine as it was. There was the premium. You could get a premium pass, but it would give you like, you know, an extra costume or a dance, or like some stuff like that, just little cosmetic stuff. But in this recent edition of the Arch Pass, they've decided, you know what, let's throw some of that currency that you earn from the Arch Pass on there as well. Let's throw in some gems that can upgrade your gear, and a bunch of other essentially pay-to-win stuff. And originally this currency you got, it's called Diligence. You can only earn from the Arch Pass. And if you want to earn more of this Diligence, you have to be on the Premium Pass. And they expect you to buy this pass every month, because this is now going to be a monthly pass on top of that. So it's a mess. They've got a bunch of stuff on there that just shouldn't really be on there. The problem is they also have stuff that you can buy with Diligence on the Premium Pass as well. So if you buy the Premium Pass, you don't have to pay for some of the stuff with Diligence. So essentially you're saving Diligence and earning more Diligence by being on the Premium Pass. And that's one of the most interesting currencies in the game, because you can get a lot of stuff. You can get mounts, you can get some convenience items, you can also get pets, power pets, and different power stones and stuff that let you do auto looting and a bunch of other stuff. But it was a big part of the Arch Pass, and they've just been like, hey, you know what, let's throw a bunch more of that on there, and we'll put less rewards on the main Arch Pass. So we're essentially getting less than we used to, and there's a lot more on the premium now, and it's a mess. There's also, they've added some, like, they're called gem carvers to the credit store, and essentially these are new gem sockets. You can get different gems for them, and these carvers allow you to select a different gem. So if you wanted to just change your gems on the fly, you could just buy a bunch of these for credits, which you buy with real money, and you can change your gems around, which they're saying is pay to convenience, because
Pay to convenience.
Because, you
Piss
know,
off.
you if you just choose the right gems in the first place, I suppose it's fine. But the meta changes, and people aren't going to want to stick with the same gems all the time. Maybe they will want to change, and the people that do have to change and aren't going to pay real money, they're at a disadvantage. And
oh my god. So what you've basically got then is, from what you're saying, so if I'm understanding this correctly, so you've got what is essentially a really convoluted premium subscription, because that's what it comes down to. You're just paying a monthly subscription for a premium, like with free to play games where you can pay to become a member and then you get extra stuff, and you're paying a subscription. That's essentially what it is. It's just a more convoluted version of that. And then on top of that, you still have to pay microtransactions as well. So
essentially, yeah, you could put it like that.
That's not good. It's not good, man.
And I don't know. I ranted about it, and they've said they're gonna make changes. They've put out a thing. I think it was just today, being like, "We've seen your feedback, guys, and we'll be making changes next time."
Oh sure.
And I know exactly how they could make this more, like, they could make it so I'd want to pay for the premium. All they've got to do is look at what other games do with the battle pass. Look at Fortnite. Fortnite is a great example of how to do a battle pass right, because Fortnite has V-Bucks on their battle pass. So all you have to do is have credits on your premium pass, and they always have it so you can earn just enough to get the next pass and like a few extra credits. And I think that's a really good incentive to get people to be like, okay, so I'll just buy the premium pass, and as long as I'm playing all the time, I'm going to be able to get the next pass, and I'll get a few leftover credits, and they'll eventually build up over time, and maybe I can buy a costume as well. And I think that's a really good way to do it. I don't know why they've not thought about doing this. I might even make a video just being like, guys, just please do this. This one change will save Arcade. That's going to be the title of the video. I'll have a really
oh man, they'll love it.
I'll have a
YouTubers will lap it up.
I'll just have like a picture of me with like light around me. We're doing a pog face or something as the thumbnail. YouTube will love the YouTube algorithm will love that.
It will. That's genuinely a good idea, though. You're right. You are right that this one simple change would fix Arcade. But it's right. Like it's about it's just about whether you feel like you're being rinsed or not, and that's the main thing. Like you said, if I pay like a monthly subscription, or I have to buy a new pass every month, I want to feel like I'm getting that premium currency as well, because otherwise it feels like they're double dipping. If you get me, like if the option is there to buy V-Bucks or the battle pass, that's fine. I can choose whether I want to go all in or just get a couple of little things that I want. I think that's a good system, especially for a free game. That's a really good system.
Arcade game free.
Arcade is free, which is problem number one. That muddies the waters a little bit, because that makes me feel like I'm being double dipped automatically when they come in with like this pass. But then if I have to get a pass and the premium currency for microtransactions or whatever, like separately, I'm being like treble dipped now. Stop dipping me. Stop it. I've been dipped enough. I'm like
I ain't dipping in that curry now. I don't want to touch that.
I am not a non-bread, okay? That's all I'm saying. Just keep the curry away from me. I've bought your game. I've bought your fucking pass. Don't start going, you need to get these special glowy gems. It's just no.
Yeah, I think honestly, if they added those credits to the premium pass, that would be a big change, and I think that would incentivize a lot more people to buy it. Because I'd be like, okay, I'll pay for it now, because I know I'm gonna play. And the people that are like, maybe play casually, maybe they miss a week or something, it's like, oh well, I've got to pay for next month's pass, and it's like, well, that's on me. I don't mind too much. I got a few extra credits out of it. I didn't get as many as I needed to. You can have that and be like, okay, And it just gives the player more to be like, I don't know, they feel like they're getting more out of it if they actually pick it up. And again, people will, not play for the whole duration of that month maybe, and maybe they won't pick up all the credits, and then they'll be like, this seems like a fair deal though, so I'll get the next pass anyway. You'll get stuff like that, and I feel like that'd work very well. Like, you can still sell costumes and stuff, that's fine. Just stuff like gem carvers do not need to be on there. They need to go. Get them out. Get them out my shop. I don't want them in there. They gotta go.
Time for us to jump ship and get back into Guild Wars, I think, pal. Called on us.
I've had people being like, you should try Black Desert again. And I'm like, I did really like Black Desert. I just couldn't get into it for whatever reason.
I'm concerned that game's not going to respect my time. That's my problem.
It is a very grindy game.
Yeah. That puts me off it.
I mean, I don't think Arcade respects my time either. I get no respect from Arcade. It just slaps me about.
Arcade is just like basically your abusive boyfriend at this point. That's what it is. I don't know why I've characterized Arcade as a man, but in my mind, Arcade is just a big burly man that's just punching you to death slowly, and you just keep taking it.
More like a deadbeat dad that's just like kicking me on the floor. Is like, come on, cough it up. I gotta go. I gotta put a bet on. I'm going down the pub. Give me a little bit for the pints. What good are you doing working? The match is on. Come on.
Yeah, we got dark. Oh man, that's what happened. Liverpool drew on a technicality at the derby, and then Arcade comes home and just beats you for arch passes. Zang.
Yeah, that's Arcade.
That's Arcade.
Enjoy Arcade. Great game.
Great game.
No, I
played anything else at all, or?
Danganronpa. I played more Danganronpa. I'm up to. I'm up to case. I think it's 5. I think it's 5 now. I've just about to go into core for it. It's the one with the body that shows up and explodes in the garden.
Oh yes.
And everyone's like, "Oh no, I guess it's Kirigiri," and I'm like, well, "It's not Kirigiri." I'm like,
"Not my wife. You're just in denial. It can't be. Not possibly."
And now I know it's not her because she shows up at the court anyway. She's like, "Hey guys, I'm here."
Yeah, it's not her, but it's time. It's just purely denial. You don't want your wife.
For some reason, I recognized the heels that were on there though. The heels looked familiar, and I don't know why. And I don't know. I've got my theories about this one because apparently it's the 16th student, which it's not going to be the 16th student because I think the 16th student might be behind it. I don't know, but I feel like no one actually died. I feel like this is a previous dead body that's been put down, and someone's just screwing with us. I think what happened was they went in there at some point. They moved the body in there. They pretended like it was a recent murder and then strapped a bomb to it for the lols. And I think that's gonna be the case.
That's a really good theory, actually. I don't remember what happened, so you might be right. I don't know, but that's actually a really good theory, though, regardless.
Because there was 5 chickens in a coop as well, and one of them's missing. So I'm like, well, I guess they used the chicken blood and just put chicken blood on them. So I feel like
chicken blood all over the floor.
I feel like that's probably what happened. I don't know. We'll find out. But I don't know. Like, also some other weird stuff's going on now because Monokuma gets taken apart as well, and then we go into his surveillance room as well, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm back, by the way." And it's like, "Oh, hey Monokuma." But I feel like there's something off about him now. Can't put my finger on it though.
My memory gets hazier as the game goes on. I remember less and less about like the last half of it.
I will say the investigation theme now is it's really good. It's changed all of a sudden. It's got this guitar going. I'm all about it.
That happened. That's cool. I need to play it again. I've got it on PS4 now, so I should play it through again. Especially since I've never actually seen the proper like official translation. Never
Mm,
played the official translations.
that's true, but yeah, I was like, okay, investigation time, and then this guitar started coming. I was like, oh, this is my jam.
Oh, there's some really good music in Danganronpa though. Really is.
Yeah, this guitar track might be my favorite so far. The music is very catchy though. It's like one of those things where it's just like I'm had like yeah, like the Monokuma Theatre for some reason. The music that plays during that was playing while I was trying to sleep in my head. I was like, please stop.
Why is that so catchy? And they use that in every game, and it is just so catchy. It's the one that's like where it's like blah 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 blah, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's got
it's
that
like
like
that.
weird bass line.
But
I actually can't remember how it goes off the top of my head, and I don't want to remember because it'll be stuck in my head for hours if I do.
yeah, I'm trying to. I actually don't remember as well for some reason, but I know the second it hits my memory, I'll be like, oh, there it is, and now it's stuck.
I'm
But
gonna
yeah,
torture myself by finding it and listening to it.
but yeah, I don't know. I don't know how this case is gonna go. I feel like it's gonna be like one of the really early bodies or something, because the bodies, I don't know where the bodies go, because they just vanish, don't they? Monokuma just moves them after they're done with. So
That's right.
I assume this is just like Junko's body or something, whatever her name is, from like the start, and maybe someone's just like smeared some blood on it, strapped a bomb to it, and blown it up.
They'd have to find where the bodies are kept though first.
I mean, this is true, but I don't know. Like, for some reason, I also feel like Kirigiri's gonna be trying to like keep us in the school now. I feel like she's gonna work with Monokuma or something and try and keep us locked in the school.
Do you think?
I get the feeling.
There's a whole thing with her, isn't there, where she clearly knows more than she's letting on, and she
Yeah,
makes it clear that she knows more, but then won't tell you what she knows.
yeah. She has that whole thing going for her, and then the one time you don't tell her something, like there's a because Sakura is like the spy, and you find out she's the spy, and then Kirigiri she gets the idea that you have a secret that you're not telling her, and then she asks, and then I didn't tell her because I was like, I'm keeping this information to myself until I get to talk to her myself. And then she got really upset with me for a whole day or two and just wouldn't talk to me, and I was like, okay, cool.
I see how it is. So you can play that game, bitch.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen. Again, we also got the whole thing where Monokuma is just like, all of a sudden he's just telling us all this stuff, which is really weird. He's just like, oh yeah, this is all being live broadcast all over the world, and I'm like I don't know if I'm. Oh, you froze for me. Have we lost Tef? I think we might have lost Tef. But yeah, I was like, is it? Oh, there he is. He's back. He's very close to the camera.
Hello.
Welcome back. But yeah, I did have the moment where I was like, is it? I thought originally that it would be a sort of, Big Brother situation, but with murdering kids. But I also thought it was like an end. But I also thought it would be like a end of the world. It seems to be having this like it's also the end of the world sort of thing scenario, and we've all been trapped in the school to like, keep the best and brightest minds alive, or something like that. It's got like both of these themes going on, and I'm not exactly sure which direction it is going. Because Monokuma, it feels like he's throwing you off the trail, but he's not one to usually lie. In that game, he's usually quite truthful.
Is he?
Yeah, usually
he's the first one. I feel that he definitely lies through his teeth a lot later in the later games. Sometimes he intentionally misleads you, but I think that's the thing about Monokuma, isn't it? Is he usually does give you two theories, and you don't know which one is the truth. Because I remember he does give the group quite early on that theory that because he tells them all that everyone's dead outside the school and like there's like an apocalypse out there. But obviously,
does he actually say that?
I'm sure he says something along those lines. Like he's like, "There's no one out there. It's just you in the school." And everyone's like, "Okay, yeah, sure." No one really believes him. But like every now and then, people come back to it and like, "What if he's telling the truth?" And then they're like, "No, that's stupid." And
I
it's
don't know if he straight up says that, but he says like, you know, no one's coming to save you or something like that. And he also, because he gives the motives as well very early on in the game, where it's like, look,
I might have spoiled that. Then maybe that comes soon for you. Maybe that I assumed you'd already had that.
I mean, I assumed that was what had happened. It seems to be trying to tell you that, but I don't know if that's actually what's happened. Again, you don't really know for sure. Because again, I've had both my theories seem to be getting like proved right in some senses. They keep giving me more information to say maybe this is. I mean, he's straight up like, yeah, this is being streamed across the world, you know. And then you also have all the stuff that's like, but actually, maybe everyone's dead. You get a lot of the stuff like this, a lot of little tidbits of information, and then there's talk about an incident that happened a year ago that changed the world, and I'm like, how long have we been in this school? I'm like, that's got me questioning.
What can you believe?
Yeah, there's a lot going on in that game, which is why I'm looking forward to just, you know, getting through it and seeing what happens. Because I've got too many fairies, and I need more information. And Kerry Giri is just, she needs to talk more and not go off on her own. She's gonna be the mastermind in the end. I can feel it.
No comment. It did really pull me in. The first game, especially, the plot really pulled me in. Like I felt like I needed to know what was going on.
Yeah, I do feel like Kerry Gary is gonna try and keep us locked in the skull. I feel like that's gonna
evil waifu.
I don't know if she's evil, but I feel like she's like, listen, she like knows something bad's going on outside, and she's like, okay, we gotta stay in the skull. Also, you have a weird dream as well, just in that case where it's like I don't know, it's like you get drugged or something. But he says he's really sick, and then you fall asleep, and then you have this dream. It's like where it's him talking to himself, being like, "We have to stay in the school." It's like, okay,
don't leave, Makoto. There's nothing for you outside.
It's something exactly like that, and then
I don't remember that at all.
And then during that, because you get given a knife, they're like, "Hey, we trust you with the knife. You hold on to this knife," and then the knife gets put in a drawer in your room, and then the body you find is a weird person in a mask, but that person comes into your room and takes the knife, and then you like struggle about or something because you like wake up and see them, and you struggle about, and then you black out again, and when you open your eyes again, Kirigire's just standing there, and there's just a bunch of dots, and then you fall asleep again, and that's all you get, and you don't see Kirigiri again until before the trial. Which I don't know if you remember that, but that was a thing that happened.
Kirigiri's looking mega sus.
She is very sus. And Pepple sus.
Pepple very sus.
But because apparently she goes up to the second floor of the dorms during that time, and stuff like that happens.
Why would you do that, Kirigiri?
Well, I mean, we help her sneak up there because she steals the key from Monokuma.
I can't remember what's up there now.
Well, I don't know. There's apparently a second floor of dorms. Who knows? I don't
even remember. I don't remember that second floor. Like I said, for some reason, like my memory just totally drops off after the halfway point. I don't know why. I was more engaged at that point, but I remember less of it somehow.
Yeah, I don't know where it's gonna go, because in the last case, like halfway through the trial, it's like you're now halfway through the game, and it's like, I'm sorry, what? It's like 6 of us left. How am I halfway through the game?
You're not halfway through the game. I think there's only 5 or 6 trials.
Okay. But yeah, I didn't think there'd be that many, but it's like, it's really weird that it's like you're now past the halfway point. It's like, am I?
Is that the tutorial guy who's like weirdly personified as this like super polite, helpful dude?
I don't remember there being a tutorial guy.
Well, he's not like actually a person. It's just like whenever the game needs to give you tutorial hints or like teach you something. It's just like the text box suddenly goes, "Oh hi, it's me. Just gotta teach you something," and like for some reason the tutorial tooltips are just personified as this really helpful, cool dude. I don't really know why. That's just always a thing in Danganronpa. I assumed that it was one of those that you were talking about.
Yeah, it is one of those. I don't know if I don't remember it being like a really. I don't remember it being like, oh hi guys. Would you like some? Yeah.
No, it is.
Maybe
It
in
is
the
like
official
that.
translation's different.
No, because he's in 2 and 3, and I've played the official translations of them as well.
I don't know them,
I say,
but yeah. I guess I've just not really paid that much attention to it. I just quickly read through it. I'm like, okay, past the halfway point. Okay, wait a minute, hold on.
It's funny how that made like stop me like what?
Yeah, because I was like, there's no way. I felt like this was one of those games where there could only be like, feels like 5 or 6 cases at most.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly how. I think there's only 5. I can't remember exactly though.
Well, that would mean I'm on the last case, if that's the case.
Yeah, maybe there's 6 in that one then. 5 seems like the right. Maybe it's 5 in the other games, but I don't know.
5 does seem like the right number. But yeah, that's all I've played this week. Are you looking it up now?
I am. I can't even. I don't know.
Yeah, I was.
Sorry, in Danganronpa.
Like, I've went to look up, like, I was gonna, like, look up characters from Danganronpa and stuff, just to, like...
Yeah, don't do that, though.
I shouldn't do that, though. Yeah, that is a very dangerous game. I was like...
Yeah, 6 chapters.
Like, I half want to look up what Junko looks like, because I want to know whose heels that they wear in that case, and I'm sure I've seen those heels before.
Don't look up Junko. Don't.
Don't?
Don't look up Junko. I'm serious, don't look up Junko.
Okay.
You'll get massive spoilers if you look up Junko.
I mean, she dies like right away.
I know she does. I'm just saying no.
Okay.
Don't look her up.
I'm half convinced she's the body in this case. I'm half convinced it's her.
You may be right.
I may be. Who knows? Because I was hot, like, when I first saw the body, I was going to be like, oh, hi, Junko. Just to throw the other person that I'm playing with off. Because they get really, like, I don't know, not annoyed, but they're like, what? They, like, try and throw me off as I'm going along when I'm, like, onto something. But then at the very, like, once I've finished the case, they're like, how did you even notice that? But I'm really enjoying it. And I might play the second or the third. Who knows? We'll see what happens.
Yes.
But yeah, that's
Junko for you because you're not allowed to. And Junko wears boots, like shin high boots. They do have heels on them actually.
I'm pretty sure it's her boots. I'm pretty sure she's the corpse. I'm half sure.
Interesting. I actually really can't remember how it goes down. So you'll have to tell me next week.
I will. Because I was like, I'm sure I've seen these on one of the characters before, and I wasn't sure if it was like Kirigiri. It's like, there's no way this corpse is Kirigiri. I was like 100% in that, and I was like, it feels weird that they'd kill off the, mysterious, last student that is somewhere in the school. It feels weird that they'd be like, oh, this person's here and now they're dead. I feel like we should see that character at least. It feels very anticlimactic.
That's a stunt that Danganronpa would pull, to be honest, and it does pull it later on. Mysterious characters that you don't know enough about yet will suddenly die before you can learn enough about them. It does happen, and then like you sort of learn more about them through investigating their death. That sort of thing does happen.
But they also they'd have no reason to disfigure the corpse.
Yeah, true. I really can't remember who it is. You have to tell me. Should we take a break?
Yeah, we should take, because we are past the hour mark. But hey, that's fine. Really dragged that out. But yeah, we will be right back in 10 minutes or so, and we'll get into the gaming news. So don't go anywhere, and we'll be right back. And we're back. So, gaming news time. It is the time we've all been waiting for. There's a lot going on this week, which means we probably shouldn't have dragged out the what we've been playing this week, but hey.
It's fine. It's fine. Let's go.
Let's go. Good.
Let's get it right. Starcraft 2. Let's go.
Let's get right into it then, I guess. Start with Blizzard. Starcraft 2 is its development is coming to a close. I mean, it's still gonna be fairly popular for a while, much like Brood War. It'll continue on its legacy, but yeah, development's coming to a close. It's no real surprise. They've been slowly doing less to support StarCraft 2 for a while now. And yeah, I don't know. I really like StarCraft 2, and there's not really been an RTS since that's done anything as good as StarCraft 2. And I feel like StarCraft 2 to an extent killed off the RTS genre because no one else could do it better.
It definitely did. I always think that like it's such a strange situation with RTSs. Usually, when a groundbreaking game comes out for a genre, it encourages copycats or encourages people to take that formula and build on it. That didn't happen with StarCraft. StarCraft 2 was so good that people just gave up trying. So weird.
Yeah, it just took over, and it was StarCraft 2 was just, it did so many things for gaming in general. It was like the first big real esport in my mind as well.
Absolutely. I think it basically created esports as we know them today, but it existed without StarCraft.
I mean, we definitely had esports before that, but StarCraft is where it really took off and really changed what esports has become. And then esports has changed even more over time now. Now we've got Battle Royale esports, which, you know, I don't think it's as great, but that's just me. Maybe I just want to see blue and red big armies crush each other, but maybe, I don't know, it's been so long since I watched StarCraft 2 esports, but that was like the first real esport I got into. And I even played quite a bit of StarCraft 2. I got to the point where I was good enough that I could beat all my friends at it in really cheesy ways, but you know, I didn't climb the ladder because I didn't want to do that, and then everyone had like ladder anxiety was a big thing in StarCraft as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. That game is so intimidating to get into, I think, because
especially the people that come over from like Brood War that are just absolute gods at RTS, and you're just like, I don't want to go up against any Koreans.
And skill isn't enough in a competitive RTS like that as well. There's so much you need to know. Like there's all the hotkeys, and its speed is more than anything. You can be really skillful and you can be really strategic, but if you're not fast enough, none of that matters. And that was always what scared me off, because I like strategy games, bro. I like them being turn-based. I'm not good under pressure. I'm not good at thinking up strategies on the fly. And that was that's always something. I didn't mind RTSs for like the campaigns. Some RTSs had surprisingly good campaigns, but I never liked the multiplayer for that reason.
I think StarCraft 2 had a fairly good campaign as well. I enjoyed the StarCraft 2 campaign for what it was. I think a lot of people got into that because it was.
I never really played StarCraft 2.
It was a good time. I can say that much. But yeah, it's sad to see its development come to an end. I feel like it was such a monumental game.
Yeah, I think it's worth bringing it up today, just to give a moment to reflect on it, just because it did have such a huge impact on gaming in so many different ways.
We'll take a moment's silence for it. F in the chat, everyone.
In general, to be honest, big F in the chat for StarCraft, because we're probably not going to get a StarCraft 3, and
no, we'll maybe get a Warcraft 4, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe that's what we'll see next.
If we get that, because is an RTS even worth making anymore? Like, it just got completely killed off by MOBAs. MOBAs just.
I feel like you could do it though. You know.
I hope so. I think there's still. I think it's insane that RTSs are dead. I never thought that genre would die. I really didn't. I thought it was a logical thing that would always be there to stay. Like, because it was the next logical step up from turn-based strategies, and it kind of perfected strategy because now you had the time element, which does make it more intense and means that there's more skill involved. I never thought it would die. It's mad. So in my mind, there's still a place in the market for it. But
I definitely think there is. No, there's definitely a gap in the market. I think maybe publishers are scared to put something out because they don't think it'll make money. They think, the money's in battle royales and it's elsewhere right now. But I think if you brought out a solid RTS, like I think Blizzard, if anyone's going to do it, Blizzard are going to be the ones that bring back RTS. Or maybe even the new Blizzard. or what are they called? Dreamhaven.
Yes, maybe that's a point. I could see them doing it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So I
Hopefully
mean,
one day we'll get a revival, get a StarCraft 3.
because I mean, Blizzard in general are not looking great right now. I mean, considering that they just closed down the France. Well, they're looking at closing down the France branch, which is pretty big. That's like 400 employees, I believe, are all like potentially going to lose their jobs, and who knows where they're going. And that was actually the connection that a lot of people in Europe had to Blizzard. So a lot of, independent creators and stuff that had connections to Blizzard, they all spoke through the European branch, which they're going to have that connection cut now, and all these people are going to lose their jobs. And this is, it doesn't look good for Blizzard with the way they're going about this. I don't know if you've got more.
Strange. I don't know. I mean, I've got to say, I've never seen Blizzard shrinking. They always seem to be growing. The fact that they're closing an office is just really alien to me. But at the same time, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're struggling. It's just we're in a really weird position at the moment with COVID and everything. So
I think that was more of an excuse, though, wasn't it? It's like, oh, I guess we have to shut it down, guys. COVID and all. I feel like they could have kept this going. Like, they've, like, if anything, games during COVID they've become a lot more popular, and they've made a lot more money due to COVID and stuff.
Yeah,
I honestly think this is something they've wanted to do for a while, maybe.
Probably. We should make it clear that this isn't a dev house, by the way. This office in Versailles, it's just like marketing and customer support and localization, isn't it?
Yeah.
But that still raises the question of where's the localization going to happen, and where's the customer support? In fact, if this is kind of one of their European office, their European branch, if you like, then I wonder how that's going to work going forward. Apparently, they were originally planning to relocate the office to London, but the combination of Brexit and COVID has kind of killed off that plan.
I think that's like the excuse. Yeah, I think it's like, well, we were gonna move it, guys, but sorry, it all happened. Nothing we can do. But yeah, it's an odd one, because this is what a lot of people, like in the UK, if you any people that are in the UK that have connections to Blizzard, that's severed. Like, who do they go to now?
Yeah, it's strange. I don't, because I don't know enough about how the company operates. I don't know if there is any other European offices that can be like a main contact or like a European headquarters now. I'm looking at an article on games industry now, like gamesindustry.biz.
Yeah.
And apparently Jason Schreier, who originally broke this news, because of course he did, of course it would be him. He said that Blizzard also shut down their office in the Netherlands earlier this year. I don't know. Maybe they've got other offices.
They dropped a bunch more customer support jobs. Yeah, they got rid of a lot of like just community support and stuff. All like community managers and stuff were dropped much earlier this year, and I think they rehired people after that as well for a lower cost.
Oh, that's
it's very scummy. So we might potentially see something like that happen. I don't really know, honestly. It's just Blizzard have not been looking great for a while. It's really upsetting. At least, they have the labor laws over in France that will maybe help these people out, and something might happen. They'll get nice compensation packages at least, which maybe they wouldn't have got if they were in the American branch.
Yes, true. Let's hope that they get that at the very least.
Yeah.
It's not a great consolation, but it's better than none.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully they'll land in a good place by the end of this.
Let's hope so. They might get out of the games industry this way. It might be a blessing in disguise, because to be honest, the games industry is just a crock of shit. It's just crap to work in. I'm sure even for the admin and the marketing and all the other staff, not just the devs, I'm sure they all get treated just as equally bad, if you're not the CEO.
Yeah, I mean, it actually does say in this article that for like a good while, the people like 134 of the people in this office were like left in limbo, not knowing whether they had a job or not by the end of the year.
Oh, that happens a lot. I've heard that happen before in publishers, but I don't know why. Like they sort of hint that you're going to lose your job, but they don't actually sack you yet. So every day is just you're expecting to get sacked when you walk in through the door.
Yeah, it's especially in like a time like this. It's in these trying times, as everyone puts it. It's it seems very scummy to me. I don't know.
Well, Zan, can I offer you a Golden Axe game in this trying time?
Well,
I'm proud of that.
An axed Golden Axe game.
Golden Axed, way banter.
But yeah, this is this is an interesting one as well. Have you given this a good read?
This is great. I mean, this is something that's close to my heart because it's Sega anyway, and I love Sega, and I love this this little anniversary celebration that they're doing at the moment for their 60th birthday. They've been releasing these little games, haven't they, every day throughout like the last week. The only one I picked up was well, they gave away Nights into Dreams for free, which I've picked up because I've never played that, so I'll have to give that a go. And they did the Streets of Camaraccio, which is Streets of Rage
That
combined
one
with
was really
Yakuza,
cool.
which is
Yeah,
that is
that
just
was
a
right
dream
up
come
your
true for
alley.
me. Oh yes. But in the middle of it, interestingly, one of the games that they released isn't like something made for the anniversary. It's actually a vertical slice of an old cancelled game.
Yeah,
It was going to be a reboot of Golden Axe, which is, if you don't know, it's like an old school 16-bit beat 'em up going back to like the late 80s, early 90s. It's a pretty good game on a Mega
you used to have
Drive.
like paths and stuff in that game as well, didn't you? You had like choices in which way you could go as well,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
with different
it was pretty
levels.
good. It
Yeah.
was good. Very similar to Streets of Rage, really, but it had like a fantasy vibe, and like you said, the kind of slightly more complicated level design.
Mm.
Uh, but yeah, so the news isn't really Golden Axe itself, though. The news is how it was marketed. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, it's a mix of that and what they had to do to even get this this game somewhat developed before it was cancelled. So it was marketed as being, this is kind of janky and buggy, guys. It's not the best, but here you go, enjoy. But, and I suppose that wouldn't be too bad, but the people who worked on this game didn't work in the best of circumstances, and there was a lot of crunch around it as well over a cancelled game. So some people are unhappy with the way this was portrayed that worked on it, because they were put through some just really awful circumstances to get it done before it was, axed.
In particular, it's this one guy in particular as well, isn't it? This Tim Dawson on Twitter. He really went off on a rant saying he was working like long 7-day weeks in some cases, and he actually developed RSI working on this game. Like he just. I think it's the flippant attitude in that store page really got to him, because he put so much time and effort and love into that game, really, and then they've just kind of put it up there as, oh, it's kind of janky, it's kind of buggy, it's an artifact of its time, it's probably outdated, you're not going to like it very much. It's only from 2012, by the way, it's not particularly old, really. So yeah, I kind of see where he's coming from. I do sort of think I can see the other side of it. I can see that like maybe he's overreacting a little bit, because I'm sure they didn't mean to cause him any harm, but he's obviously really been affected deeply by this development, and it makes me wonder. Is this the kind of stress? Is this what happens to people
Gotta put
who are
under
making
crunch.
games? They
Yeah.
put on, and this exactly crunch more than anything. Is this what it does to people? Is this because this guy's clearly traumatized by this? This is 8 years ago, and it clearly still hurts him enough that he felt the need to go on his rant on Twitter. Is this like what happens to people? Does it really traumatize them this much? Does it really put them under that much mental strain that it's still hurting him now, 8 years later?
I mean, being forced to work 7 days a week, not being able to see your family until this game is done, probably does, and it probably hurts especially that they were like, you know what, guys, you've been crunching real hard, but no, we're not putting this out there. You know, we'll see what happens with it. And then 8 years later, they're just like, here's this really janky piece of garbage that we worked on a few years back. Enjoy.
Mm. I see where he's coming from. I think it's really interesting because it really puts it into perspective. I feel like as much as we read about crunch, we never experienced it. So we're never going to fully understand it. But I do feel like I understand it and empathize a little bit more now that I've seen the weight of it crushing this guy. Um,
Yeah.
I feel like I understand it a little bit more now, and it's really hit me reading his tweets, how much it's affected him. And my heart goes out to him and anyone who's working on these games, because they're doing this to create fun for me, and I love these games, but it's the
And
horrible experience people go through
you're
making
having
them.
fun while some guy is locked in a room, unable to see his family. He, like, pulls up a picture of them on his phone every now and then to just look at while he's in this dim room where he's not seeing
So we can remember their
sunlight. Yeah, where he's not seen sunlight in years, and then every now and then, you know, his boss comes in and is like, how's that code going, by the way, Steve? That going well? Because we're gonna need that in at least the next 72 hours. So you better get working on that. And if you even fall asleep, you're out the door. No pay. You know, it's like you don't have to stay here for crunch, okay? You don't have to.
You don't need, no. You can go home. It's okay. You'll just be a junior artist instead of a senior artist on the next project. But no, it's okay. You can leave if you want to.
We'd never force you to stay, but
No,
this game's really important to us and the team, and
you don't want to let down the team, Steve.
Because that's what we are. We're a team here. Team.
Team. Just love saying the word team. Oh, I mean, it's worth pointing out. Jokes aside.
Yeah, jokes aside.
Jokes aside. Because I'm going to respect for Sega now. They did remove the flippant comments off the store page, which, I mean, they kind of were forced to do that, but at least they acknowledged it. I feel like other companies, other big publishers probably wouldn't even acknowledge it. They would just
Activision
ignore
Blizzard.
it. It's just a guy because Activision Blizzard or Ubisoft. I feel like if it's just a guy ranting on Twitter, I don't think they would have cared enough. But like Sega are generally more respectful to their customers than your average big publisher. Doesn't mean that they always make good games. I do genuinely think that they try to make good games, though. It's just that they're actually not very good at it quite often. But at least they're trying. They're not intentionally making bad games or intentionally trying to screw over their consumers. In my mind, at least, you know, as opposed to 2K, who are putting adverts in their games that you're paying now £70 for. Oh, do you want? I think you should actually take the lead on this one, or I will just rant for like half an hour.
I kind of want to see that happen. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh no, this really annoys me. So, so this kind of follows on from what we were talking about with FIFA, because it's a very.
Well, we've had another story like this as well. Do we remember the boys? The boys season 2 ads.
Yeah. So, to be honest, when I originally saw this headline, I didn't think it was worthy of us talking about again because it's a very similar story to the FIFA one. But the more I think about it, this is so much worse.
Yeah.
And it's really getting to me. So, NBA 2K21 is adding unskippable ads into its game.
My favorite. It's not a sports game if you don't have ads.
No, you got
it's just like the real matches.
Am I correct in thinking? I'm not certain on this. I'm just trying to quickly double check, but I believe they come up during a loading screen. Is that right?
It's during that and the intermissions as well.
Intermissions, okay, yeah, and they're unskippable, as I said before. So, this gets to me, but for the obvious reasons, the same reasons that we complained about FIFA. You're paying full price, and you're actually paying more full price these days because they're raising the price for next gen. So it's going to cost you more to buy this game, and you're getting rinsed more than you did in the last gen when you paid less. It's just ridiculous. That's not fair, obviously. But what really gets me is this unskippable ads thing. Now, the big selling point of next gen is no load time, guys. when it loads, it's going to load for like a few seconds and that's it. No long load times. And now they're putting unskippable ads. So are we going to get to a point where it's like YouTube, where even though the game has loaded in like 3 seconds, you're going to have to watch a 30-second advert in the intermission, in the middle of your game? You're playing a game, bam, half time happens, you've got to watch a 30-second advert about The Boys on Netflix.
It's actually on
Stupid.
Amazon
There is
Prime. Available
Oh,
now.
okay, sorry, mate.
If
Sorry,
you also
pal.
have Amazon Prime, you can subscribe to your favorite Twitch streamer using Twitch Prime.
Oh, nicely done. You actually made that relevant. Well done.
I did. I'm getting better at the seller now.
Oh,
No.
you got to
I'm learning from 2K, you know? I'm
Well,
putting
I mean,
unskippable ads in my stream.
they're clearly the guys you need to pay attention to. They've got it now. But yeah, that's why that gets to me so much. It feels it's laughing in the face of next gen, I think. In multiple ways, because you have that price hike and the fact that they're adding these in at a time when load times are supposed to be getting shorter, and it's infuriating because I know there is nothing that we can do to stop this. We can moan about this till the cows come home, but the fact is, people who buy these games aren't watching this podcast, and they're not reading the GameSpot articles. They don't care.
Yeah, they'll buy this game.
Yeah, because the kind of people who play these games, they probably only buy COD and sports games, so that they won't even care how much they have to pay. Sports ball. They're not really going to care how much they have to pay because they only buy 2 games every year anyway. So they don't care how much it costs because it's not, it makes a bigger difference to us because we're buying way more games anyway. It's probably genuinely going to actually put a stop to how many games I buy because I'm a guy in his 20s with too much disposable income. I buy more games than I need to. I buy games and I don't play them for months because they just get put on a back burner. I'm awful for it. I've got too much disposable income. I'm that typical guy in his 20s who's just wasting his money like that. But when it goes up, because it's going up to £70 for us, which is
it's a lot of money.
It's considering it's $70 in America, we're paying more than that. We're paying like £80, which is just it's like $80.
Yeah,
it's about it's not fair. It's really not fair on us, and we're paying through the nose now. So it's really going to make me stop and think about buying AAA games. I think I'm going to be buying very few in the next gen. They're going to have to really impress me going forward, or sales.
Like you could buy 2 brand new games, or you could probably get a plane ticket and a return from somewhere at that cost.
The stupid thing is, for £70 on Switch, if you've got a Switch Online membership, I think you need one in order to do this. But for £70, you can buy a voucher, which lets you buy. With that voucher, you can then buy 2 full-priced Nintendo first-party games with it. And considering they usually cost £40 to £50 each, you're saving money there. So now we're getting to a point where for £70 you could buy 1 Xbox or PlayStation game, or you could buy 2 Nintendo games. And let's be honest, the Nintendo games will be more polished. They'll have no awful microtransactions built in. If they've got DLC, it will be decent content that's actually worth paying extra for, that adds to the game. It's not going to be like pay £2 to unlock stuff that you could have just played the game to unlock.
Yeah,
you're getting better quality for less money. It's just that hurts me. As someone who plays so much Switch, I can't help but put it into the context of the Switch and just think I'm being rinsed so much now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, it really are. And I guess, companies are moving towards subscription models and stuff now as well, with Microsoft being like, hey, Game Pass, get Game Pass, guys. You're not on Game Pass? So we have stuff like that coming, and I don't know, we might just see the way people buy games change in the next few years. It may get to that point. But
yeah, I can definitely see that, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, it's just the fact that this is gonna have unskippable ads. It's also probably gonna have microtransactions in it. I think the last NBA 2K had loot boxes in it that you could purchase or something like that.
Oh my.
So it's gonna have that on top, and it's just ridiculous. It's worse than mobile games. I can at least skip ads on a mobile game.
Yeah, that is the strange point we've got to now, isn't it? Where because all these bad practices came from mobile originally, and console for a while was like an escape from it, and then console met, at the same level, and which was bad enough because you're paying for console games. You don't with mobile games, you don't pay for them at least. When you're getting these adverts, you can always buy the app to get rid of the adverts or pay a subscription or whatever. But with console, it was worse because you were paying a load of money to then have microtransactions. But now we've got to this weird point where you're paying so much money, more than you were before, and you're actually getting a worse experience than you would if you just play the game for free on your phone. How did it get this bad? How have we allowed it to get this bad?
I feel like it was an inevitability. Just
It was
over time, people have just like, I don't know, people just they're like, it's the norm now. No one really takes a stand. Boycotts never work. I don't think boycotts ever work when it comes to games. Unfortunately, someone always caves, and more and more of these practices are just being pushed out there, and not enough people are calling it out. And Absolutely. You then have the more, the casuals. I don't know.
Filthy casuals.
But yeah, the people who aren't as invested or interested in actual game industry and business practices, they'll just buy the games anyway. They're just like, I just want my new edition of COD or my new version of FIFA so I can pay and get my new Ultimate Team so I can, beat the boys. And then maybe I'll watch season 2 of the boys once I'm done beating the boys. But
I mean, after all those adverts and the intermissions, you'll be like, oh, I really think I should watch that now. That looks great. Let's watch it right now on Amazon Prime.
Boys season 2 actually was pretty good though. Did give it a watch. It was a good time. I enjoyed it.
You shill.
I watched the boys season 1. Okay, listen, both of them were good.
Sure, pal.
Listen, it's like superheroes, but the superheroes are bad guys. It's a good time. Also, one of the guys is British, and he's just like London Calling plays in the first episode. He whacks a guy with a pipe. It's a good time. Anyway,
that's got nothing to do with games. What's next on the list, pal?
Well, I mean, speaking about stores and everything, Sony are cleaning up shop. They're removing a bunch of the PS3, PSP, and Vita listings from the PlayStation Store. So they're all gonna vanish very soon. As they I think this is to prepare for the PlayStation 5. That's what people are pulling from this.
I'm sure they said somewhere that they're actually this is part of the revamp that they're doing in the lead up to next gen. They're actually kind of redoing the store entirely, and this is part of the prep for it. Because it's only on the web browser version of the store. So they're saying you can still go on those consoles and use the store there, which is okay for most things, but the PSP store has been gone for like a long time now. You can't access that on the PSP anymore. So I guess that's just digital PSP games gone.
I'm not entirely. I don't know. We'll see what actually happens with this, but yeah, I feel like the PSP and the PS Vita they've not really been super relevant for a while now.
Yeah, that's it. So it doesn't matter too much.
But I'm sure there's people that are like, I really want my Vita games. Gotta get Persona 4 Golden. Or whatever,
Well, it's on PC now, I suppose. But yeah, it is. This is obviously, as everyone always says, it's the biggest downside of digital distribution. This is going to happen to every console sooner or later. And it is irritating. And I hate that they just keep saying, well, you can just use your own system, use the original system, because the PSP store doesn't work. And God knows how long the PS3 and the Vita stores are going to continue to work. I'm sure they'll take them down at some point. Strangely as well, they've also taken off the store like themes and avatars and things like that, which actually do work on the PS4. Those aren't on the browser version anymore either. So now if you want to get apps as well. So if you want to get like Netflix on your PlayStation, you now have to start up your PlayStation and start downloading it on the from the store, which I think is funny because that kind of defeats the object of the PS4. One of the PS4's big selling points was you could
It's a
go on the
Netflix machine.
website, buy a game, or an app. Don't be facetious, my pal. Don't do that. No one's actually using their PlayStation for Netflix at this point. Let's be real. I feel like everyone at this point now either has a smart TV or an Amazon Fire Stick. No one
Yeah.
uses their consoles for these things. Surely
It was
these
weird
days.
that the PS3 used to be like a Blu-ray machine back in the day. That's what a lot of people bought it for.
Right. It's funny to think that the reason the PS2 was so hugely popular was that it was the cheapest DVD player when it came out. It was cheaper than buying it just a DVD player. So loads of people bought it just to have a DVD player in the house. But like, I think those days are kind of mostly gone now because consoles can't do anything multimedia wise that can't already be achieved on a bunch of other devices, including your phone. So,
a phone, TV, a USB stick that you can put in to your TV.
Exactly. Yeah, that's it. I do that all the time. I've got like loads of shows and films that are just like on MP4s, and I'll just put them on a stick and put the stick into my TV. It's easier that way, isn't it?
Yeah.
But the point I was making anyway, it was like one of the big selling points of the PS4 was the fact that you could buy all this stuff on your phone on the store, and if your PlayStation was in sleep mode, I'm pointing generally in the direction of my PlayStation, forgetting that you guys can't see it. It's roughly in that direction. But like you could like you buy things and it would just immediately start downloading onto your PlayStation, and so that would be ready when you actually start up the PlayStation. So I guess like the idea was you could buy things while you're at work or school and then come home and it'd be ready. And it's funny how you're not going to be able to do that anymore unless it's games, but you can't do that for any of the other things that you can buy on the store for PlayStation going forward. It's a weird move. I don't get it.
I think
Maybe
it
they'll
might.
come back.
I think they might. I think it might just be for the revamp, because we are seeing a lot more from the PS5 recently. We've had like a lot of people being like, "Look at the UI for the new PlayStation." Got a lot more of that coming out.
Well, that got revealed this week, didn't it? And it does look cool. To be fair, there's some nice little touches with it. I think a lot of it's kind of gimmicky, and I don't think it'll be used often. But it's just kind of nice to see. It's got to focus on games, which I always appreciate. PS4 was good at that anyway. But I hate the way the Xbox dashboard for the longest time now has just been a way to shove adverts in your face, and it's not actually right about the games these days. That's a different topic anyway. That's unrelated.
I mean, there's a lot going on with the PlayStation 5. I mean, Sony are even listening to you now through the PlayStation 5.
Oh boy, yes. This is for voice chats, isn't it?
Yeah. So there was a lot of confusion around it. People thought that there was this like recording feature in there that they thought Sony would be listening into the party chat and the voice chat conversations. But essentially what it is they've set up the system where you can record voice chat and then send it in to report people that are being naughty, they're saying the bad words in the video games. So
okay, so that's not entirely true though. It is still listening in.
It is still listening in, but they've said that's what they've come out and said.
So I don't like this. I get why they say they're doing it. And it makes perfect sense. I mean, voice chats and consoles, literally since their inception, have had this reputation for just being awful, and people just saying like that your mum's just
a cat,
a sex pig or whatever bizarre stuff. That's what it's like on Xbox Live. You remember the Xbox Live days? You were there. It was not good. Halo 3 was horrible. GTA 4 was the worst for it for some reason. But like it's always been bad, and I get that they're trying to stop that, and I think that's good. But what concerns me is the way the system works. So if someone if someone says something abusive to you, you can report them, and Sony grabs the last 5 minutes of voice chat and sends that on to the moderators or whatever, and they'll review the voice chat, and listen to what happened and go from there on whatever action they're going to take, which is a good moderation technique, absolutely. But it does mean that at all times it must be listening because it's always got the last 5 minutes recorded. That means that it's always recording your voice, and we know it's only using the last 5 minutes, but we don't know what Sony's doing with the rest of it. Maybe it all gets deleted immediately once it's past that 5 minutes. It's gone,
Yeah.
but we don't know for certain, and I don't trust companies because we know, like, companies like
You think
Amazon.
I hit you with targeted ads?
Yeah, they're always listening, and they say that they're not. They say that it doesn't start listening until you say Alexa or whatever, but that's been proven to not be true. So I it makes me very uncomfortable. It doesn't make a difference to me, and it's not going to make a
Technology
difference
would
to
never
anyone.
listen to me. They would never
I mean, I'm
listen in on
boring
my
anyway.
conversations.
No, I didn't mean that. I just mean I'm
Yeah.
not going to be using PS4 voice chat or PS5 voice chat.
I'm
I
not
mean,
either.
I feel like it's only going to be the the gamers for like NBA 2K21, like we were saying before, or maybe kids playing Fortnite. They're probably the only people doing that still. Surely everyone else is on Discord at this point, so it doesn't make a
Maybe
difference
that's
to
just
me.
because we're PC gamers. I don't know. The console people still use? I don't know because I've not played on a console in a long time.
Not even like a lot of console players will use Discord for their chats now. It's just like having the server is handy for other reasons as well, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
I've got a server that was put up recently from my old mates from high school. They made a server for Among Us that I think I mentioned to you.
You
And
did.
a lot of them are like fairly casual. They don't play games very much, or if they do, they only play like the big hitters. You know, I wouldn't say that they're the gamers on the same level we are by any stretch,
They're not
but
real gamers.
they wear the hashtag real gamers. They're not really into it. Is what I mean, you know. But like they put together a Discord server, and
They could do it.
they knew how to do it for starters, and they would rather do that than they could have just as easily, considering most of them are playing on their phones, they could have just done a group voice chat on Facebook Messenger, but they didn't. So I think I know it's still a bit anecdotal, but I think most people are on Discord at this point. So that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether it affects me or not. It's still going to affect some people, and I'm not comfortable with it. I get why they're doing it. Doesn't change the fact that it's creepy as fuck.
I think it's honestly it will be a situation where anything in the last 5 minutes just won't be recorded because I think it's gonna be a situation where the RAM will only save so much of the conversation or whatever, and then the rest will just get deleted because I don't think this is gonna be saved in the cloud. I don't think it's gonna be one of those situations.
Yeah, I don't think so either, but it's still a possibility, which makes me uncomfortable. I don't know. I know it's stupid at this point because it's too late. At this point, everything's recording you and everything's doing things with your data that you don't really want. It's too late for me to be paranoid, but
Yeah, I'm already
it's
out on
when
the
it gets
internet.
out in the open like that. It's just a bit like, ugh.
I'm already out in the open. Like at this point, I got nothing to hide.
Leaks of you on Pornhub. I've seen them. They're real.
What?
It's too late. What? Oh.
What? Excuse me?
Well, I didn't say it.
So next story.
So anyway, yeah, I made them, but So yeah, what's next?
Hold on. What was that?
Well, so what's this Phil Spencer's been saying, pal?
Oh, oof. Well, Phil Spencer, he's been saying a lot of things. So he's got a big mouth, that Phil Spencer. He has.
Big mouth. God, he kind of. Do you know what? I'm looking at his face now, and he actually has a very, very small mouth, if anything.
But he is talking some. I don't know. He's throwing shade at Sony, being like, "Hey, we got Bethesda games now. And you know what? Yeah. We could make that money back, and we don't even need to put it on a PlayStation. We're all good."
He's kind of flexing though.
Yeah.
And he pushing this sad narrative that we're probably not going to get Bethesda games on PlayStation for much longer.
I hope that's not the case.
I would have been,
but
if this was 5 years ago, I'd be devastated. But Bethesda now, they can have them. I don't care anymore about Bethesda. I'm not too sad.
Doom. I mean, people on PlayStation will get Doom, I guess.
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? I will miss id games. I just won't miss Bethesda Game Studios games. You know.
Yeah, I mean, we're on PC anyway. It shouldn't really affect us too much, but it just sucks
True.
that the locking down games again. It feels like it's been a while since we've had, actual exclusives that have been locked down on platforms. Like, imagine if they are just gonna have Fallout and the next Elder Scrolls are all locked on Xbox and PC, and Sony don't get that. Sony would then have to retaliate. I'm pretty sure they would have to retaliate at that point, and then they'd lock down games as well, and this would be like going back in time to, like, back when. What if Sony are like, you know what? Square Enix belongs to us now. And they take back Final Fantasy, and I'm like, no, I can't have that.
I think the problem is Sony don't have enough money to do this. This is the thing, isn't it? Microsoft has at this point essentially has infinite money, and Sony don't.
I wish I had infinite money.
I wish I had infinite money. I wish I had Phil Spencer's polo shirts. Can we talk about Phil Spencer's polo shirts? Because I'm just staring at it.
Let me get a good image of Phil Spencer's polo shirt. I need to get a good look at this.
So you need to open the article that you put on the reading list for this news section today, pal. So PC Gamer. If anyone wants to go and look this up, it's PC Gamer's article on it. The title is Xbox could recoup $7.5 billion Bethesda purchase without putting games on PlayStation, says Phil Spencer. But that doesn't matter. What matters is the image below the heading, where Phil Spencer's just wearing a black polo shirt with just a big white X on it, like a target on his chest. And that's it. That's the whole shirt. I don't like it. It's weird.
I don't like where his jacket's sitting either. I don't like his jacket. No, it's where it's sitting on his chest.
It's like it's perfectly framing the X. He's done that on purpose.
Yeah, it's like being held back by his nips.
Tiny man.
I don't know if you noticed.
Oh boy, I have not. Hang on, let me just get the zoom on here.
Yeah, get the zoom up. I'm pretty sure that's what it looks like from here. Is it just me, or is that? I'm just.
No, I see. I see that too.
I don't like that.
That's a wide nip, though. If that is his nip, it's like
He looks like he's got a big chest. You know. We're just talking about Phil Spencer's chest now.
Put that in the currently discussing section.
Yeah. Phil Spencer's chest. He looks like he works out,
I think so.
Good for you, Phil.
I think
good for you.
Yeah, good on you, Phil. Good lad. I'm happy for him.
But yeah, that it doesn't bode well for Sony that they may take that away. I really hope that we get them on both, but I don't know if we will. I don't think they have a reason to. Like Phil said, he's like, we're good.
They'll just do the games that already have to go on there because there's games that they're contractually obliged to put on PlayStation. But I think that'll probably be the last of them then.
Yeah, it's gonna. I don't know. We'll see where it goes. Maybe we'll still get them. Maybe Sony will make a deal with them and they'll like pay to get them on the console or something.
That'll be a weird situation.
It would be a really weird one. I don't think any. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens because they are big titles that a lot of the more casual people will still pick up Elder Scrolls and stuff. I feel like
that's true.
But yeah, we'll see. Let's move on from Phil Spencer's chest, and we'll talk about.
Please, I want to close that tab.
We'll talk about the Zuck.
Zuck.
So,
Zuck.
Would you like to lead on this story? You did.
Yeah.
You pointed this one out to me.
Yeah, this is my one contribution to the news this week, ladies and gentlemen. So it's about the new Oculus headsets, the Oculus Quest 2. So this got some flack back when it was announced, which was when was that now? It's back in August, apparently. Was it It felt like a long time ago, but apparently it was just August when it was announced.
I
But
don't know,
yeah, I
time is
remember getting.
all over the place for me right now. I don't know where I am.
That's weird. I could have sworn this was announced like 6 months ago, but it, it was only a few months ago apparently. But it got flack because when it was announced, they said that you would need a Facebook account because Oculus have bought Facebook now, and I believe this is the first VR headset since the acquisition, as far as I'm aware. And yeah, anyway, the
Yeah.
Quest 2, you need a Facebook account in order to use it, which it got a lot of, a lot of flack back then for obvious reasons. They're completely unrelated services. You shouldn't need a Facebook account. Plus, it's just scummy because Facebook is a data harvesting service, and they're making you put your identity on there in order to
Yeah.
use a VR headset. It just seems really ethically dirty. Let's
And
put
now
it
they're
that way.
scanning your body while you play video games.
Soon they'll be able to just 3D print your whole body.
They'll clone us and replace us. The reptiles will take over.
The reptoids are coming for us. So, I mean, the reason why this is news, though, is because now that it's actually come out, it's turned out to be a worse situation than people even speculated on. Like things that didn't occur to us back then have come about now. Like people have went to merge their Oculus account with their Facebook, and people who haven't used their Facebook in a while have suddenly found that their Facebook's been suspended. Situations like Facebook that does this thing where if it thinks if you think you're not using your real name, it'll suspend your account until you post or like send in a picture of your ID or like post off your ID to them or something like that. They have to see like your passport so that they can see what your real name is because they want to make sure that they're harvesting real data. You know, so that's the thing. It can be suspended for that reason. It can be suspended because it might suspect that you're a bot, and that could just be because you've not used Facebook in a while. It'll start to think that maybe you're just a bot account, and it'll suspend you for that reason. So people are buying these quests thinking that they're not going to have any problems using it, and then they go to merge their Facebook account with it, and suddenly they're banned. And if you get banned on Facebook, it's apparently very, very hard to get the ban lifted. If it's to do with questions of your ID, like I said before, you can send in your ID to prove that, but that's not ideal. And apparently, even doing that, it can take a long time to get it lifted. Like you can send it in and be waiting a long time for a response.
And until
It's
then, you've essentially just got a really expensive paperweight that you can't really do anything with.
yeah. This is exactly how it was put, wasn't it, by the people where this happened to them? They said I've got a $300 paperweight. And it's just Facebook should have nothing to do with this. It's I don't understand why they're doing it. Facebook have acquired so many other companies and they've never done this before. You don't need a Facebook account to log into Instagram. Instagram still operates completely independently. I don't get why they've done this. It's just awful PR all round for Oculus. I don't understand.
I don't know. We'll see. It's one of those situations where these people are like left in limbo and they don't know whether they're going to even be able to use their Quest or not. So they're stuck with this until, whoever over at Facebook is like, all right, this is a real person. Or, we'll unban this person. Or maybe they just don't. Maybe they're just like, nah. enjoy your paperweights. Zuck's over there laughing.
He's got your $300 now.
Laughing all the way to the bank.
These people, they shouldn't have bought the Quest 2 anyway. They shouldn't have supported this in the first place. I hope that this kills Oculus. I honestly do. It's not right. There's so many other VR headsets you can get these days. Why would you pick the one that's going to tie you? Like the Vive. Vive's a big one, isn't it? That's the one that's like doing the best at the minute, isn't it?
I think so. I mean, the Quest was also supposed to be a big step up as well. Which, I don't know, if you're a VR enthusiast, I get why you'd want to jump into something like this. There's a lot of people that want to support VR and they want this to really take off and see the technology grow. Because I do think in like 4 or 5 more generations, we're going to have a really consumer-friendly version of VR that's really cool to use. But we're not there yet. It's going to take a little longer. And, it'll take even longer for people to actually start adopting it because most of us a lot of people don't want VR. They don't want to get up and move about while they're playing games. You know, we just want to sit back in a chair with a controller and just chill.
Yeah,
Admittedly, I do want. I do want like the full movement. Like, give me a full treadmill to stand on and just do backflips on and stuff. I want to have a fun time like that. Or even, I think what people do want actually is they want one where they can just put it on, lie down, and they're just in a virtual world. They don't move at all, and they could just move with the brain. I don't know when we're ever gonna get to that point. That's gonna be a long way out, I think. But
yeah,
that'd be really cool to see.
Like, when you see people on those like omnidirectional treadmills, they look really cool.
They do.
Mind them. Also, to actually be exercising while playing games, which that'd be neat.
And then they got like those vests that'll like for when you get shot, you feel like the impact and stuff. They look really cool. Or they give you, I think like something like taser you or something. That they do something to make you feel the impact of it. I want one of those. Put me in one of those. I'll be having a great time. I'll play Call of Duty. Put me in Call of Duty, then I'll have a great time.
I can remember seeing a video of someone at a games convention back when VR was first starting to take off, and this dates it because he was playing Team Fortress 2. And he had the full gear with the treadmill and the vest and everything, and it looked really cool. This was just as Valve was starting to push VR more, and I think Team Fortress was one of the first games to really like.
I think Team Fortress 2 took off again recently, didn't it? Or it was doing something big recently. I don't remember what. TF2. I'm sure something big happened with TF2 lately. I don't remember what though.
I'm sure there was a news broke about it recently, basically saying that it's never going to get any decent updates ever again. So I don't know where you're getting that from.
Hold on. Let me see. Let me see if I can find some. Oh, Valve just updated Team Fortress 2. It's released a brand new update. 4 new community maps for Halloween have been brought in. So 22 new cosmetics. So yeah, there was a big update that brought a lot in. And it's had so the game had the highest peak ever with this latest update, which was interesting. So yeah, this was the 2nd of October. This was a couple weeks back, which we missed out. We glanced over this one, but yeah, Team Fortress 2 popped off recently, so it's interesting. But yeah, where were we? Sorry, went off on a bit of a tangent.
We were talking about the quest. I don't know if there's anything else to add to it. Have you got anything else you want to say, or?
I don't know. I don't know. I just hopefully these people are able to actually use their quest.
Yes, that's it. I'm praying for them. So, what's next?
Well,
you can actually take the lead on the next one because I don't know too much about this.
You're the one that sent this one to me as well. You sent this one to me as well.
No, I don't think I did. I didn't read up on this story.
Well,
I mean, I kind of glanced through it, but I think I don't know. I don't fully understand it, honestly. I was hoping that you'd get it more than me. So the headline is that Assassin's Creed Valhalla's default setup has you play as both male and female Eivor at different parts. Eivor's like the main character. Obviously, you can pick whether they're male or female. I think we already knew that. This is part of Ubisoft trying to prove that they're woke. They kept talking about how you can play either gender in Valhalla, but apparently by default the character actually swaps between the two genders. It's weird, isn't it? They won't say why because they say it's a spoiler to explain why. But
they do say that. They say the Animus picks for you.
Yeah, the Animus is doing it. The Animus it jumps between the two, and the narrative director, Darby McDevitt, he's called. He said it'll make sense when you play in the game. It'll make sense in the story when you play it. I can't help but feel that this is just Ubisoft trying too hard to prove that they're woke after all the controversy they've had. And this is just really cringy. It's like, see, guys, we're so woke that you can switch between the two at any time. They're basically trans, guys. We're so woke. Like,
okay, let's not go that far.
But that's how that's it. I know that like I'm seeing it through the lens of all the controversy that they've had so far this year. But I mean,
this goes all the way back to Unity, and when they were first like, well, we can't actually animate female characters, guys. It would cost too much money, and then there was a big uproar over that, and then they were like, because they won't commit to something. They won't just say, this is the story we want to tell, and that's all you have to do. You could just go, okay, we want a female character in this game, or we want a male character. They won't just commit to one, and they feel this need to be like, well, you can play both, guys. I feel like they also did this because they had I don't know if this is something they've just changed on the fly recently. It feels like it is a recent thing where they've just been like, we're getting a lot of backlash on all this stuff. Let's try and, show that we're doing something. Which, when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, it's good that they're putting female characters in. It's good that they're making this a more prominent thing, which they've been doing for a while. To be fair, it's just I don't know. I don't know how it's gonna make sense story wise, and I get what you mean by it. Does feel like them being like, hey, you can play both, and both will happen. The female characters also in there, guys. But you can choose as well. You don't need to play that character. You can play the other one if you want. They won't. They don't commit. That's the thing. Just commit to something. Make an effort.
I actually think I'm gonna go just go right ahead and say I think this is actually a step back from Origins and Odyssey, despite how hard they're trying to prove that they're woke now and we're feminists now, guys. This is a step back because for
it feels just like corporation. Corporation statement. We also stand with you guys when they don't. They clearly don't. They've made changes in the company, but it feels like they've just thrown a bunch of people under the bus so they can pretend like everything's fine, which I still don't believe. Get CEO step down, have him take his golden parachute, take him off somewhere else, get him out.
If you think about this from the point of like female representation, though, as much as the female characters in Origins and Odyssey got kind of shafted and it got pushed to the side, as we've heard all about that this year. Yes, okay, that happened and that was bad. They got pushed aside, but they were their own characters all the same, and they were strong characters that were actually built around their femininity to some extent. They were strong female characters. Now instead of a strong female character,
it's gonna be a generic main character.
We've got this strange main character who can't even lean one way or the other into any kind of gender because apparently they are both. And it doesn't make any sense because it's saying the animus will decide whether it's a female or a male. But we're talking about history here. They were either male or female, or maybe they were trans, maybe they were somewhere in between, but they certainly can't be both. It's not like Schrodinger's gender. It's just, it doesn't make any sense. And that's why you can tell that they have thrown this in last minute in an attempt to win people over, and it just comes across as really cringy. Well, that's what annoys me so much, is if it's actually step back with representation. We don't have a female character here. We have a male character who's got a gender-dependent version. It's probably how it's going to come about in the long run.
This feels like a Shepherd situation.
Yes, it is 100% a femme shep situation. It's going to be a male character with a female skin on at the end of the day. Anyway, I don't like it. Don't like.
Well, hopefully Femme, whatever the name of the character is better than the male one, because Femme Shep was always better in Mass Effect, from what I'm told. Even though I never played Mass Effect.
I didn't really like Mass Effect, so I can't comment on that.
But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it will make sense in the context of the game. Maybe they somehow make it make sense. I don't know.
Do you know what? Props to them. If it does make sense in the narrative, then fair enough. But I don't get how they're going to make that work.
Yeah, I don't know. I just wish they would commit and be like, okay, we're just gonna make a story about a female character, and if you don't like it, fine. But I don't think anyone actually cares whether it's male or female.
No, I really don't think anyone has. I think it's so strange that to this day there's still this idea in the games industry that women don't sell. When Lara Croft proved that wrong 25 years ago now. And this misconception carries on. It's strange.
I don't know. Like, I feel, Tomb Raider was such a popular series as well, but also Tomb Raider was it had some weird stuff where it was like it was a feminist icon, but also like a sex icon sort of thing. It had both of those going for it, didn't it?
I think that it was definitely a product of its time, because that was kind of how feminist icons went down in the 90s. That was the whole girl power thing, where they were strong female characters, but they were also kind of sexualized at the same time.
I feel like there's still some of that today, but I don't know. People like, you have Bayonetta. I feel like Bayonetta was also that.
Yeah, I think it can be done properly though.
There's ways to have a right way and wrong way to do it.
Yeah, it's different with Bayonetta. I think it's kind of more modern with Bayonetta. She leans into her sexuality, but I think you can have strong female sexuality and have it be have it like lean into like, you can have it be feminist basically, because you can have it as a male gaze thing, or you can have it as a sort of, this is who I am and I'm proud of my femininity sort of thing, if you get me. And I'm not really equipped for this sort of
No, I
conversation.
don't think either of us are equipped for this
No, we're not
conversation.
really. Of course we're not. Of course we're not. Ultimately, we aren't, because it's not a problem that we have to deal with. But I think there's different ways you can handle it. But the point still remains that we've had strong female characters in
I
gaming
think
for a
you
long
just
time.
make the character interesting. If you make it like an uninteresting side character that is just there to be, female character who is nice to look at, no one cares. Then that's where it's upsetting when it's a character that's really interesting, who has a strong personality, who's cool. It's like, you know what? I mean, Bayonetta, who doesn't want to play Bayonetta? Bayonetta's just...
That's it. I can't find like the right words
I don't know.
for it, but I think the easiest way that I can express it is like, when I look at Bayonetta and I see her sexuality shoved in my face, for some reason it just makes me think, wow, she's so cool, and it makes me respect her more.
I mean, it helps that she's murdering angels and demons and doing backflips and, shooting 4 guns at once.
Yeah, but then, I mean, but when she's like, when she acts all like sexy and winks at the camera and all that, it kind of just adds to that badassery somehow. I don't know how they pulled it off, but it does, doesn't it? I don't think that she comes across in any kind of sexist way, and I think that's just because I've got like mad respect for Bayonetta as a character, and it just works on me. It's very different from...
I mean, she's a confident character with like a dark past, I suppose. It's got that sort of thing going for her.
Yeah, I guess so. That works too. That helps. I don't know how to... I can't form words. I think I'm just too tired. Let's move on to an easier conversation, shall we? My brain's fried.
Well, the last story of the day is an interesting one. It's got to do with Purple Sightbad.
Of course.
Dr. Disrespect, some of you may know, he was banned from Twitch. I don't know if you guys know this, but
I like to talk about it every week.
Well, we've not talked about it in a little while, but he made a whole like map for Rogue Company. He designed a map. They've built it. They put it in the game. He has his own character in there now as well. And it's really interesting. This is like a big deal they've made. I don't think I've seen anything on this scale for a game before. But yeah, there's been rumors going around that people are getting banned on Twitch because they're showing his likeness and giving him a platform if they play Rogue Company, because his character is going around. Now, I've not found a solid article talking about several people, but I've seen a few streamers on Twitter mention getting 24-hour bans because of it. So it's an interesting one.
It's weird, isn't it? I kind of stumbled across anecdotal evidence like you did throughout the week, just kind of on Reddit and things like that. People were mentioning it, but now that I'm trying to look into it, can't find any actual like solid evidence of this really being a thing. Can you? It's purely anecdotal. So it's hard to prove that this is actually the case. It might be a coincidence. People might be getting banned for other reasons and assuming it's to do with Dr. Disrespect. But if this is true, it's really interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's I don't really... It's such a strange one, and we still don't know what happened between them. I don't know if we ever will at this point. but it's one of those things where I feel like they have to compromise on this, because it's just going to have people playing that game. I don't.
It might not be their choice, though. This is my theory is that they don't have a choice in this. I think there could be some sort of legal setup with whatever's happened between them. They might now be legally obliged to not have his not depict him in any form on their site. Like I think I mentioned this to you when we were talking about it before the podcast started, but um I've been thinking of this in a similar situation to what happened with the show Top Gear, where when the the presenters of the show broke away from the BBC and had to go and make their own spin-off show because there was like bad blood between them. The old presenters now can't even say Top Gear. They can't mention the show
I do
when
remember
they're
you bringing
talking.
this up. Yeah.
Like they've got a YouTube channel now, and they've got like an Amazon Prime show, and they literally they can't say Top Gear. They have to go on a show previously that I can no longer talk about. That's like the closest they can get to mentioning it. They are like legally obliged to not talk about Top Gear now. So I wonder if it's a similar sort of situation. Like it comes across as really scummy when you first see it. You're like, why is Twitch doing that? Purple Site is so bad, but I do wonder whether it's not their choice. Maybe they have to do this. Maybe they
The
can't
thing
have
is,
Twitch.
they do this with every streamer that they've banned. Essentially, like you can't platform these streamers. So if they show up on someone else's stream, that streamer gets banned. For
Okay, that's fair enough, but that's different though,
But
isn't it?
it is a slightly different situation. This is where it gets like a little muddy, because this is a game, but this is his likeness in a game. It's very much his likeness, and it's whether Twitch are like, well, this is giving him a platform. And I don't disagree. I think there is a legal situation behind the scenes where, you know, there's stuff signed, and I'm sure, you know, the doctor can't say anything about it, and Twitch can't say anything about it. Twitch will never speak about it anyway, because that's just their policy, because they're just so spineless. They refuse.
Such a bad Purple Site.
Purple Site bad. But no, I do feel like they are really spineless, and they don't want to speak out about bans because they don't want to give reasons for it, because then they'd have to be consistent with those rules, and they're not very good at being consistent, because then they'd have some responsibility for the people that they ban. Because at the end of the day, they are a private company, and they could ban whoever they want for whatever reason, for the most part. But they don't want to be held responsible for the reasons that they ban people. Which is why I say they're spineless, because I don't think they'll ever come out. They'll never come out with a strong stance against anyone. They'll never say anything. They'll just ban people and stay quiet, because it's the easiest thing they can do.
Yeah, I guess so. I like that comment that if they start talking about it, then they might create some consistent rules that they then have to abide to, and we can't have that.
Yeah, they'll get criticism either way, and I don't think they want to abide by their own rules. They want to just make up whatever they want to do on the fly. Again, this ban that Dr. Disrespect came from, it didn't even come from the mod team, it came from higher up, which was the bizarre part of it all, because that has not really happened before. So who even knows? A lot of people are like, well, they got rid of him so they could use the money to bring in, you know, bring back Ninja and Shroud and buy Logic and stuff. Which there's a lot of conspiracy stuff going on, but I don't know if we'll ever know. Maybe the NDA will expire. Maybe Dr. Disrespect will write his memoir in like 20 years' time, and we'll read it back.
I genuinely think that might be like the only time we actually find out. I don't really mind. Honestly, I'm not that curious about what happened between them. But I am more interested to know why this would be happening, if it is happening, because again, we don't actually know. This could be people chatting out their ass on Twitter for all we know. Really,
it was a partnered streamer on one of them that I saw. One was definitely a partnered streamer, and they did get banned.
Exactly. So it's at the same time it's a real possibility that's worth discussing, and if it is the case, I would love to know why why they're doing that. Is it pettiness, or is it just that they literally can't depict them in any way, shape, or form? It seems a strange thing to be. I don't think it can fall under the same rules as what you were saying earlier about if you can't have them feature on your stream. I can see why they wouldn't want that, because if they allowed banned streamers to feature on other streams, then that
They could
creates a
circumvent
loophole where you
bans.
can,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly, creates a loophole where you can get around the ban. This is not him getting around the ban in any way, shape, or form. So if it is just Twitch doing it off their own accord, then it's got to just be petty.
I'm just imagining the one guy in upper management who sent the banhammer down on him. He was like, finally got rid of him, never have to see him again. And then he sees a bunch of people playing Rogue Company with the doctors running around, all like, I don't know, saying his catchphrases or whatever. Everyone's just saying it in game, and he's just like, just melting his brain. He just explodes and is like, no, ban them all.
He just boots up Rogue Company like, time to relax after a long day at work, and then this sea of Dr. Disrespects just start running at him. And he's like, no, it's back. I could probably cut that because Twitch seems to be that petty.
Twitch does come across as very petty, which is why it wouldn't surprise me. But at the end of the day, we don't know. We don't know for sure. The reason I'm really curious is because I want to know what Twitch's reasoning is, because if they have like a really weird reasoning, or they're just like, you know what, we just wanted to get rid of them, it's worrying for other streamers, potentially, who maybe want to speak out against Twitch, or if they want to, like be more, I don't know, natural about what they're saying on stream. It's a little worrying that they could just clamp down on them for any reason, which, I mean, they can. Again, private company can do whatever they want, but it's nice to have the guidelines, the rules, and be like, okay, as long as you're not breaking any of these, you're fine. Because if it wasn't like he broke a rule, if it was just like, this guy's a problem for the platform, let's get rid of him, then it's a bit more worrying. I don't know, that's my only reason to want to know.
I think the company has responsibility for people's livelihoods, so they should be more responsible about it at the end of the day. It's as simple as that.
But yeah, I mean, that's all we can really say. And again, speculate on why he got banned all day long. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. I think it's interesting that this map and character that he's got in Rogue Company is potentially getting people banned on Twitch. I think it's a bit ridiculous.
Utterly ridiculous.
But yeah, that's it for the news this week. That is it. We went way over time today, but it's been a good one. I've enjoyed this one.
Yeah, good fun.
So, Tef, tell the people where they can find you on the interwebs.
Oh, okay, because I was going to say just in my flat. I am on twitter.com/Teffers. Let me just whack that in. Teffers is my Twitter handle. That's kind of just my place for rambling about games. I do have a Medium account as well. I pin like the latest article on the Twitter, so you can find it through there. I haven't written one recently. Had a bit of a block. I'm gonna have to think of something. But yeah, whenever I do have one, it's going to be pinned on there. What's my latest one at the moment? It's still about tank controls. I went on a bit of a rant about tank controls and how they're not as bad as people say they are. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, you can go and see me rant further. It's just what I do here, but in like a slightly more coherent form. Slightly. Yeah, that's me.
But yeah, and if you don't know me, which you probably do, I'm Zanrise on Twitch, Zanrise on YouTube, Zangames on Twitter, and the real Zanrise on Instagram. So yeah, a lot more content coming out on the YouTube. I've got a lot in the works. Also, we now have a YouTube channel for the podcast, so if you want to catch up on the VODs, you don't have to watch them on Twitch anymore. It's over on youtube.com/this podcast is an alpha. I don't know if it's actually got the custom name. I don't think it does. But here is the link, just in case. So if you want to go subscribe to the podcast channel, you can, and you can listen to all the VODs and watch them as well. They're all there, all available. Up in, well, not this episode, not yet, but it'll be going up. And then we're also available on Spotify and iTunes. more of those episodes will be coming up soon as well. So be on the lookout if you want to listen on the go. But yeah, thank you for watching, everyone. We will be back next week with episode 23 of the podcast. So we will see you all then. In the meantime, have a good rest of your week. And I'll see you when I see you. Bonsoir.
Bonsoir.